to our current affairs program, The Scoop. I'm Chibesa Ngwira. This is a program where we go beyond the headlines to make you understand what is happening in our news and current affairs scene. These were the scenes across the country 2 years ago when the Patriotic Front defeated the MMD in the 2011 presidential and general elections. Many across the country celebrated with optimism and expectation of renewed hope of a better life. As the PF clocks 2 years in government this month, how has it performed and what does the future offer?
MMD was in office for 20 years. UNIP was in office for 27 years. I get the distinct feeling that these ministers have no direction. It doesn't matter how much the president can tell them to work. They seem not to have direction, and they are actually shredding the Patriotic Front Party out of government.
You would agree with me that the past 20 years of MMD, the formal jobs were not more than 500,000. We have just been in government for about 2 years now. We have created more than 200,000 jobs.
So this is a perpetuation of Don't Queer. And PF don't learn lessons. They lied during the campaign, they continue to lie. They're just annoying the people of Zambia more.
Rampant cases of alleged theft by workers in Home Corp stores forces management to engage a private South African company to investigate the roads. A polygraph, also known as a lie detector, was brought into the country to be used in the investigations in which the company has lost stock worth more than 1 billion kwacha. Workers, however, sought government intervention as they protested against the development alleging discrimination.
I want to direct the company involved to immediately stop whatever they are doing and seek professional guidance from police headquarters. They can go and see the director of criminal investigations in that respect, because they are the ones mandated by law to undertake investigations. Anything outside this is illegal, and they are merely victimizing workers who maybe some of them are even innocent.
It is a project in which government had committed to spend a colossal sum of more than 1 trillion kwacha. The Safe City projects, in which closed-circuit television cameras were to be installed in all the provincial centers, now stands cancelled. ZTE Corporation, a Chinese firm, was contracted to supply and install the CCTV cameras in a deal signed in January this year with the Ministry of Home Affairs. However, suspicion of corruption and irregular procurement procedures surrounding the whole deal forced Home Affairs Minister Edgar Lungu to cancel the contract only this month.
If there are no irregularities, the government would have stood their ground. They wouldn't have been pushed by ourselves to end up cancelling this particular contract. So as far as we are concerned, there are a number of irregularities in this particular contract. And also, there was an attempt to classify this as a confidential. But how do you classify something confidential that is meant to create safe cities? To place cameras in public places, which cameras would have been seen by everyone else around the cities.
Transparency International Zambia says it will not be easy for the Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate the Ministry of Home Affairs officials linked to the cancelled $210 million CCTV deal. TIZ Executive Director Goodwill Lungu says this is so on account of government's failure to suspend the officials to pave way for uninfluenced investigations. The Anti-Corruption Commission claims it has commenced investigations into the deal in which CCTV cameras were to be placed at the traffic lights across the country as a measure to enhance security.
Have you ever heard of Safe Cities project? Whether yes or no, that matters less. You may be interested to know that at least the country seems to have embraced the concept. The concept aims to enhance security in major cities with the use of latest technology, among which include closed-circuit television, CCTV cameras placed at strategic places. Zambia, up until early this month, was prepared and committed to spend a colossal sum of more than 1.2 billion kwacha to undertake the Safe Cities project. Government, through the Ministry of Home Affairs, engaged a Chinese company, ZTE Corporation, to procure and install CCTV cameras in all of the country's provincial centers. The deal, quoted in US dollars 210 million, was however cancelled this month by Home Affairs Minister Edgar Lungu after alarm was raised on a number of irregularities.
Even the minister and the PS cannot dispute this fact that this was not advertised. So there's no need for us to keep on hoodwinking people that this was done in order. And this is why the minister found it irresponsible for him to cancel this particular contract. If there are no irregularities, the government would have stood their ground. They wouldn't have been pushed by ourselves to end up cancelling this particular contract. So as far as we are concerned, there are a number of irregularities in this particular contract. And also, there was an attempt to classify this as a confidential. But how do you classify something confidential that is meant to create safe cities, to place cameras in public places, which cameras would have been seen by everyone else around the cities? And also we know that countries that have created safe cities, they have involved members of the public to do community policing on the streets. And also people are fully aware of the existence of cameras. We talk of UK, we talk of the United States. They are fully aware of the existence of these cameras on the streets, and these are not classified projects as such. And also the amount of money that is involved, 210 million United dollars, is very frightening.
Transparency International Zambia Executive Director Gudo Lungu adds that the mere fact that the minister cancelled the contract is admission of irregularities.
People who dragged the country into that loss should be able to account for that particular loss. The same applies to other issues which we have raised, like for instance the World Trade Organization. There were all those irregularities that were involved, and people are paying the price. Some have even ended up being suspended. So public funds should not be used very carelessly, because most of the Zambians out there are poverty stricken and they want accountability on the utilization of these public funds.
Other corruption watchdog institutions like the African Parliamentary Network Against Corruption, APNAC, is equally disturbed with the whole deal.
We are aware that there are some ministers who are celebrating over the cancellation of this contract, saying now it is their camp that will spearhead the awarding of a contract for the same project. We as APNAC will oppose tenaciously any attempt to revitalize the Safe City project, because you cannot afford to spend such colossal sums of money in this country to put street cameras for so-called public safety.
Mr. Mwetwa adds he does not expect the country to suffer any penalties by cancelling the suspicious deal.
We note, for instance, recent comments by some organizations that government is now going to lose 40% of the 210 million United States dollars arising from the cancellation of the contract between Ministry of Home Affairs and ZTE Corporation. From where we see things, when a contract has been procured irregularly or illegally and is later on annulled or cancelled, that amounts to a contract which is void ab initio, meaning that this is a contract which should be treated as though it never existed, because the rules governing such kind of a contract were breached before the contract was entered into. The rules were not followed, and that is why the minister even cancelled it and referred it to Anti-Corruption Commission. It was in self-admission that this contract was in breach of the procurement rules and regulations and laws of the land in this country. So we are surprised, even some people saying that government is going to lose money. Which money are they going to lose? Because that contract is void ab initio. And further, this PF government is on record of retaining Zamtel on the grounds that it was procured by, Lapgreen irregularly. And they also retained Finance Bank. So we are not foreseeing anywhere within the foreseeable horizons why government would lose any amount of money.
However, CATS International Zambia states the country, whichever way, is set to lose out.
Due to them, since the contract was cancelled, even though it was duly valid, that they be paid 40% of the value of that contract. And so it's quite saddening to find that such a huge amount is being paid because of that mix-up. Meanwhile, those amounts could have been used towards social services such as education and health provision for Zambian public. And that is a real concern for us as civil society organizations in Zambia.
ZTE Corporation Deputy Managing Director Edmund Banda declined to give his company's position regarding the cancelled deal, saying that will only be done after conclusion of investigations. The Anti-Corruption Commission confirmed in a media statement to The Scoop, having commenced investigations into the deal. Commission Corporate Affairs Officer Christopher Chibanku clarified that in fact investigations commenced long before the contract was cancelled by Home Affairs Minister. However, chances of the Commission doing a good job in its investigations are limited, as officials linked to the deal, including Home Affairs Permanent Secretary Maxwell Nkole, still remain unsuspended.
It will be very difficult for the ACC to investigate whilst people have not been suspended. And we want to call on the ACC also to put their foot down, to write to the head of state and other relevant officials to ensure that the right things are done. And also want to appeal to officials at the Ministry of Home Affairs that our intention in calling for their suspension is not ill-timed. We don't hate them, we love them, but we just want the due process of the law to be done in a very professional manner. We don't want it to be done in a selective way.
Home Affairs Minister Edgar Lungu is keen on ensuring the truth regarding the Safe Cities project is known, but maybe he needs to do a little bit more.
I'm saying there are very serious allegations made in connection with the ZTE contract. And in view of the seriousness, it's only fair that we launch an investigation. One, they're saying it's overpriced. Two, they're saying it's irregular. Three, they're saying that dishonest conduct on the part of either the supplier, the contractor, the Zambian government official responsible. So these are very serious allegations. Okay. Some people have been going to the extent of implicating the president in it, but the president has got nothing to do with it. Because this project has been ongoing and we found it. So in view of those serious allegations, it's only fair that we get the root of it. The contract is there, but if it's not valid, it's not valid. There's nothing to fear. If it is irregular, then we are covered. So I don't know what people are worried about. And now the process will require to go through, then we'll know exactly where we are, instead of speculating.
Transparency International Zambia concludes by warning government officials to desist from deals which have the potential for future repercussions.
The late President Mwanawasa said alleged criminality should not be done under the cover of darkness. Because under Mwanawasa's time, there were some people who were arrested over security cameras and they wanted to hide under the veil of security arrangements, and he denied that. So as far as we are concerned, the current government should follow that as a very good precedent.
The question that, however, still begs for an answer is whether such a project, where such a colossal sum of money is a priority in a country where the majority poor live on less than $2 a day.
On September 23, 2011, Patriotic Front leader Michael Sata was declared the winner of the presidential election, throwing the whole country into celebration. This week, the Patriotic Front clocks 2 years in running the affairs of the country. For many, the euphoria that followed days after the PF victory has turned into disillusionment and despair. In the last 2 years, has the Patriotic Front lived up to its promise?
Police in full-out gear were also at hand to keep vigil at the peaceful celebrations.
Many will recall events of September 23, 2011 with a sense of nostalgia. Wild celebrations erupted across the country in the wake of President Sata being declared winner of the presidential elections. Scenes of spontaneous celebrations followed for days on end with hope of fulfillment of campaign promises. This month marks 2 years of the PF running the affairs of the country. Stakeholders have given varied reflections on the performance of the PF in government. Former Finance Minister Edith Nawakwi sees a lack of economic direction and cohesion in the PF administration.
I get the distinct feeling that these ministers have no direction. It doesn't matter how much the president can tell them to work, they seem not to have direction, and they are actually shredding the Patriotic Front Party out of government. And as such, no one needs to aid them to accelerate the process further, because we have a limited term of 5 years. Zambia is in a deep social crisis. The poverty levels are not improving.
With 3 years more to the next general elections, the PF has an opportunity to redeem its declining fortunes.
Draconian measures that have been implemented. What comes to one's mind is the reintroduction of exchange control systems under the guise of the SI-55. I want to be categoric here. People are having a nightmare to bring money into Zambia. If you bring in as much as $50,000, the banks are garnishing it under the guise of the Drug Enforcement Commission as money laundering.
Ordinary citizens on the streets of Lusaka also share their perception of the PF performance in the last 2 years. Many still hold on to the promises the party made in the election campaigns of 2011.
Two, Millennium Development ifika kukabanana bantu bakali kumwa amanzi mu kukumba, so kulibe na zamene bachita ba PF ngati bafuna balimbikire, otherwise palibe mwandi tukali kuyembekeza bamene banatuchita promise. This is sad kuti bantu this time in 20th century tulimo bakali kumwa amanzi ya muchisimbi, and then they are beve bakumwa pipe to water, and bamene who are suffering is us bamene to vote 2 years baikeko nzeru 2 years yasala hii. Otherwise ero tu baleke na kukamba uti bazimenyana in public. That's why kuli in house ma meetings also nabana bonse bazibe kuti MPF kuli problem here.
There are a few other positives that we have seen which they can actually continue to work on, like for instance I would just mention the farmer support program where they support the farmers with inputs. We saw that last year and the other year there was a delay, but this year that delay there has been and at least they've been able to give them the inputs in good time, and also that the fertilizer has been produced by nitrogen chemicals. I think that also supports industry, the local industry here. Then we also look at the Link Zambia 8000, and this yet to be commissioned, the 2000 PEV 2000 here in Lusaka. Those are good programs, and we see that even service delivery even to the remote-most areas, it will be easier now through these roads, as well as the decentralization of through the districts that have been created. So those are some of the positives that we look at, and we just hope that in the few remaining years they'll be able to work on other areas and actually be able to bring the cost of living to cushion actually the impact created by the removal of the subsidies, so that the cost of living is much affordable.
We're told more money in the pockets, and people sometimes take it as a gospel truth when you say money in the pocket. maybe you may be meaning something else, that you need to be a hard worker, but the people, others will be saying, no, they will be making queues in banks and will be giving us money. And sometimes when you say in 90 days, maybe you are talking of 3 years, but 90 days, in actual sense, it means 3 months. Yes, that's 3 months. Huh? Yes. 90 days would mean a short period of time in which one to capture all the economic activities. I don't think it's possible. So sometimes it's good to be sincere and truthful, you know. That would help, you know, Zambians. If you tell them the truth and it will set them free. I think the head of state would just stand up boldly and apologize and say what we meant is actually this. Not just forget and say no, Fiala is over. I don't think that would be. No. Zambians are not small kids. They know what they want.
The PF government's most staunch critic, UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema, summarizes the PF's 2 years in government as a failed project.
PF in government is a failed project. Full stop. Completely failed. How do you judge a party in office? You look at this manifesto. When it went out to be elected, what did it say to the people? What menu of policies did it present to the people? Let's look at PF and see how they've scored. They told the people they will have more money in their pockets. Everybody knows that PF now meant no money in the pocket. They told the people that people will have more jobs. There are more unemployed people today than the time people took over office, the PF took over office. So this is a perpetuation of Don't Queer. And PF don't learn lessons. They lied during the campaign, they continue to lie. They're just annoying the people of Zambia more. There's anger building out there out of frustration for non-performance by the PF. That's the best score sheet to check what people feel. Look at the price of millimil. When they took over, breakfast millimil 25 kg was 37 kwacha. Today, in Solwezi, in Mwinilunga, it's well over 75, 80 kwacha. That's a disaster. Agricultural marketing has collapsed.
Mr. Hichilema struggles to find anything to credit the PF for. But even the one thing that flashes across his mind has been wrongly implemented by the PF.
It's hard to remember what good thing PF has done. The reintroduction of the abuse of office clause in the Anti-Corruption Act. That was good. UPND supported it. Our members of parliament supported it. But in practice, what are they doing? They are daily abusing public offices with impunity. Kabimba was not interviewed over the oil procurement. That's abuse of public office.
Other stakeholders, like 9 government organizations, join in expressing their disappointment with the PF government on a number of fronts.
In terms of governance in general, I think they have really taken this country so much behind from where they found it. Issues to do with the Public Order Act. We have seen that the Patriotic Front has not been fair in their administration of the Public Order Act. We have seen that members of the Patriotic Front, cadres, they demonstrate and do their activities without any police notification or permit, but the others have been denied. Imagine for the past 2 years, they have denied almost everyone, civil society organizations, the opposition political parties, just to meet people and air their views or give their sides of the story.
The PF government indicated, actually, if I'm not mistaken, on the page 49 or 48 of the PF manifesto, they indicated that once in power, they are going to repeal the NGO Act, because they thought that the NGO is another pillar of development which the PF government should relate with. But we have seen a bit of divergence from some of these commitments.
On its part, the PF prides itself in massive infrastructure development across the country. The Link Zambia 8000, Lusaka 400, and PF Zambia 2000 are projects that will change the road network in the country for good.
We have fared extremely well. If you compare the rate at which jobs are being created, to the past 20 years, you would agree with me that the past 20 years of MMD Red, the formal jobs were not more than 500,000. We have just been in government for about 2 years now. We have created more than 200,000 jobs. It is not in order for people to oppose for the sake of opposing. One of the sectors that we have created jobs, the construction sector, the mining sector, even in public sector, because if you do a simple mathematics, by creation of 29 districts by His Excellency the President, you multiply the first, you saw the jobs that were advertised. By 208 positions, it will give you more than 2,000 jobs in public sector. Again, if you speak about these are direct jobs. Then if you talk about auxiliary benefits, people that are involved in the construction of houses, roads, social amenities, things like water and so on. How many jobs? Plenty jobs have been created, except they don't want just to see. And I know they are seeing, because today they are saying, no, it's not just about job creation and infrastructure development. It's about good governance. But if you check even the governance index in Zambia, we are one of the best countries. Even in Africa, we are amongst the top 10 countries. So, by 2016, I don't think they will have anything to talk about. I don't think they will have anything to talk about, because if you talk about Link Zambia, 8,000 plus kilometers of roads, Pave Zambia, 2,000. Now, and then we talk about the roads within Lusaka, that is L4, and this country will be transformed. This country is getting transformed. I have a best example in my constituency in Kambashe, where we are setting another sugar farm for the first time in the history of Zambia. It will be bigger than Nakambala sugar in Mazapo. And we expected to create more than 20,000 jobs. By 2015, we intend to start in farming in that area. We have restated the Shinga branch that was closed during when the MMD took over reign from Kaunda. Today, as I'm speaking, we have started restocking. We have reopened a breeding center. As you may be aware, the World Bank's research is the cattle rearing is now moving from the southern part of Zambia to the northern part. And we are building 35 in secondary schools. And what we've done equal distribution. Every province is receiving 3.
Through these projects, the government envisages to create employment for many youths countrywide. Job creation and more money in people's pockets are but some of the many promises the PF government maintains it is fulfilling.
PF government is not just a government that is merely talking. It's a government that believes in action. We promise the Zambian people that the lowest public worker will not be getting less than 3,000 per month. And this is implemented. This can be checked by all the public workers. They'll confirm with you that their government, the listening government and the caring government has implemented what we committed ourselves to.
Whatever the case, every year that passes takes the PF closer to their real test of popularity in 2016, when they'll be required to seek a fresh mandate from the Zambian people. Jubilation scenes and sentiments like these are a clear reminder that many ushered the PF into government with hope of better things to come.
For that child I saw in Kauma who was hungry, I know better things are coming for him. I know a man of action, he is in power now. Thank God, thank God.
You should hope for delivery immediately starting from this weekend. And there is nothing that is going to stop the people. But the victory goes to the people of Zambia.
Next week, rampant cases of alleged theft by workers in Home Corp stores forces management to engage a private South African company to investigate the roads. A polygraph, also known as a lie detector, was brought into the country to be used in the investigations in which the company has lost stock worth more than 1 billion kwacha. Workers, however, sought government intervention as they protested against the development, alleging discrimination.
I want to direct the company involved to immediately stop whatever they are doing and seek professional guidance from police headquarters. They can go and see the director of criminal investigations in that respect, because they are the ones mandated by law to undertake investigations. Anything outside this is illegal, and they are merely victimizing workers who maybe some of them are even innocent.
That's it for the scoop for this week. But before we go, our proverb: a man who uses force is afraid of reasoning. A man who uses force is afraid of reasoning. Until next week, bye-bye.